What happens when a tourist unleashes a trained attack dog on a Queen's Guard, expecting to see fear shatter the legendary composure that has protected British royalty for over 4 centuries? The answer will absolutely blow your mind and expose military secrets hidden beneath that iconic red ceremonial uniform that most people will never discover. But before we dive deep into this incredible, jaw-dropping story that's about to unfold, if you're absolutely fascinated by untold stories of raw courage, precision military tactics, and ultimate justice being served in the most unexpected ways, I need you to smash that like button right now and subscribe to our channel. We are literally the only channel on YouTube bringing you these exclusive behind-the-scenes Royal Guard stories that reveal their extraordinary, almost superhuman hidden skills that would make Navy SEALs jealous. Hit that notification bell immediately, because what happens next will completely transform how you see these ceremonial warriors forever. And trust me, you don't want to miss a single detail of what's coming. Picture this incredibly tense scene. It's exactly 8:47 a.m. on what should have been a perfectly peaceful Tuesday morning at the majestic Buckingham Palace, where centuries of British royal history echo through every ancient stone. The magnificent palace grounds are bathed in golden morning sunlight that creates dramatic shadows across the courtyard, while dozens of excited tourists from around the world are busy snapping countless photos and chatting excitedly about the pomp and ceremony they're witnessing. Standing in absolute perfect ceremonial position, like a living statue carved from marble, is Guard James Harrison. His scarlet tunic, a brilliant contrast against the weathered stonework that has witnessed countless historical moments. But here's what absolutely nobody in that crowd know. It's about James Harrison, and folks, this crucial detail becomes the game-changing element of our entire story that will leave you speechless. Behind that completely stoic, unmovable exterior that tourists see as merely ceremonial lies 8 grueling years of frontline military experience that would break most men, including 2 absolutely brutal tours of duty in Afghanistan, where he faced life-and-death situations daily. His service record includes combat operations in some of the most dangerous regions on Earth, where split-second decisions meant the difference between life and death for entire units. But even more critically important to what's about to unfold, Harrison spent 3 intensive, specialized years with the elite Royal Army Veterinary Corps, where he received advanced training in military combat dog handling that only a select few soldiers ever receive. This isn't basic pet training, folks. This is elite-level animal psychology, crisis intervention, and tactical response training that combines years of study in animal behavior with battlefield-tested techniques. Harrison's expertly trained ear, honed by years of combat experience where missing audio cues could prove fatal, picks up something in the morning air that makes his blood run cold and triggers every combat instinct he's developed. The unmistakable spine-chilling sound of a large, powerful dog being deliberately worked up and agitated for confrontation. This isn't a playful bark or normal excitement. This is the calculated conditioning of an animal being prepared as a weapon. His military training immediately kicks into high gear as he begins a tactical assessment without moving a single muscle or betraying any reaction that might escalate the situation. Now enter our antagonist, Marcus Reed, a 42-year-old man whose extensive criminal background includes 3 prior arrests for public disturbance, 2 counts of animal abuse that were plea bargained down, and a restraining order from his ex-wife citing intimidation tactics involving animals. Reed stands about 5'8", but carries himself with the aggressive posture of someone constantly trying to prove his dominance. His heavily muscled arms, covered in amateur prison tattoos that tell stories of violence and intimidation, strain against a sleeveless shirt that he's deliberately chosen to display his physical presence. But today, Reed has brought something special to his planned confrontation, something he believes will finally give him the power to humiliate what he sees as a pretty boy in a costume. Meet Cupcake. And don't let that innocent name fool you for 1 second. This is an 85-pound English bulldog with documented military bloodline heritage, descended from dogs that once served alongside British forces with honour and distinction. However, this magnificent animal has been tragically corrupted and systematically transformed into a weapon of intimidation through months of deliberate abuse and psychological conditioning. Reed purchased Cupcake from a disreputable breeder who falsified papers, then spent considerable time and effort undoing the dog's natural gentle temperament and replacing it with learned aggression and fear-based responses. Watch Reed's calculated predatory movements as he approaches the ceremonial area. And folks, I need you to understand that this absolutely isn't random chaos or spontaneous misbehavior. This is carefully planned, premeditated psychological warfare designed to humiliate a representative of the British Crown in front of dozens of witnesses. Reed has studied this location, timed his approach, and prepared his weapon specimens, likely for maximum impact and embarrassment. His strategy relies on the assumption that a ceremonial guard cannot break position no matter what happens, making him a perfect target for public humiliation. Look closely at the crowd's immediate reaction, and you'll see a masterclass in human survival instincts kicking in simultaneously. Experienced parents, their protective instincts honed by years of keeping children safe, instinctively begin creating distance between their families and the obvious threat. That young mother frantically pulling her 5-year-old son behind her. Her maternal instincts are screaming danger signals that she can't ignore, even though she might not be able to articulate exactly why. That elderly couple exchanging worried glances before slowly backing away. Their decades of life experience are telling them that this situation is about to turn violent. Most telling of all, that elderly gentleman in the corner wearing a faded military veteran's pin. His weathered face and military bearing tell him with absolute certainty that this situation is about to explode into violence, and his old warrior's instincts are already calculating response options. "Easy there, Cupcake!" Reed's voice carries across the courtyard, dripping with a sickeningly false sweetness that barely masks the underlying menace and aggression bubbling just beneath the surface. "You'll get your chance to meet the toy soldier soon enough, won't you, boy?" Notice that calculated tone, folks. Child psychologists and behavioral experts call this particular vocal pattern toxic sweet talk, the deliberate use of false affection and mock gentleness to mask aggressive intent and build psychological tension. Reed is simultaneously conditioning Cupcake to associate the guard with threat and conflict, while also demonstrating to the watching crowd that he's maintaining plausible deniability. If questioned later, he can claim he was simply talking sweetly to his pet. But watch this manipulative technique that reveals Reed's calculated approach. He deliberately shortens Cupcake's leash to build physical and psychological tension, then releases it slightly to create a pattern of anticipation and release. He's using textbook classical conditioning principles to weaponize Cupcake's natural protective instincts and redirect them toward an innocent target. This systematic pattern of tension building followed by partial release creates a psychological state in the dog where aggressive action becomes almost inevitable. This isn't casual pet handling, folks. This is deliberate animal abuse disguised as entertainment, and it's absolutely sickening to witness. Meanwhile, here's where Harrison's specialized military training transforms him from a ceremonial figure into a tactical expert operating at the highest level. While every single person in that crowd sees nothing more than a motionless ceremonial statue in a fancy uniform, Harrison's combat-trained mind has already shifted into full tactical assessment mode that would impress seasoned special forces operators. His eyes, though appearing to stare straight ahead, are using peripheral vision techniques learned in hostile environments to track multiple threats simultaneously. He's already conducted a complete threat assessment that includes identifying Cupcake's specific breed characteristics, noting the unmistakable signs of corrupted military training in the dog's responses, evaluating Reed's body language and positioning for attack patterns, assessing civilian evacuation routes, and calculating no fewer than 17 different response scenarios based on how this confrontation might evolve. Harrison's trained eye immediately recognizes that Cupcake's muscle structure, head shape, and movement patterns indicate classic British military working dog bloodlines that have been systematically corrupted. The dog's responses to Reed's commands show the tragic overlay of fear-based aggression training imposed over what was once proper military conditioning. Most civilians would see only an aggressive dog, but Harrison sees a corrupted soldier, a fellow warrior who's been betrayed by his handler and turned into something he was never meant to be. This unfolding situation provides us with a perfect real-world case study in crowd psychology and human behavioral patterns under stress, folks. Watch carefully how different demographic groups react to escalating threat, and you'll see fascinating patterns emerge. The tourists with expensive cameras and phones keep filming because they don't yet fully grasp the genuine danger developing right in front of them. Their vacation mindset hasn't shifted to recognize a true threat. The parents, however, are operating on pure protective instinct, creating physical distance between their children and the potential violence while keeping escape routes clear. But pay special attention to that distinguished elderly gentleman wearing the faded military veteran's pin on his jacket lapel. Despite being clearly outnumbered, facing a weapon-sized dog, and having no backup or legal authority, his deeply ingrained sense of military duty compels him to step forward and take action. "That's enough of this nonsense," he declares with quiet authority that comes from decades of military service. "This is a place of ceremony and respect, and you're disturbing the peace." This is genuine military courage in action, folks, the kind of selfless bravery that steps toward danger to protect others rather than seeking safety. This represents the fundamental difference between civilian and military mindset. While civilians naturally seek safety and distance from threats, warriors instinctively move toward danger when innocent people need deep protection. Reed's immediate aggressive response reveals his true character and confirms that this confrontation was always his intended goal. "Shut it!" he snaps with barely controlled rage, yanking Cupcake's leash with deliberate violence that makes the powerful dog snarl. "Me and Cupcake here are just saying hello, aren't we, boy?" His mask of false civility completely drops, exposing the calculating bully underneath who's been planning this public humiliation. Reed's body language shifts to a more aggressive stance as he realizes that his intimidation tactics aren't working on everyone present. Reed's overall strategy represents textbook intimidation psychology that experts call proxy aggression, the cowardly tactic of using an intermediary, in this case his dog, to carry out hostile intentions while maintaining plausible legal deniability. Notice his careful positioning throughout this confrontation. Reed consistently stays just outside the legal definition of assault range while deliberately allowing Cupcake to close the distance toward his target. This calculated positioning gives him legal cover if authorities intervene. He can claim with false innocence, "Officer, I was just walking my dog and talking to people." Meanwhile, his weapon does the actual threatening and intimidating. But Harrison's expert eye sees details that escape everyone else present, including the arriving security personnel. Those seemingly random movements and responses from Cupcake aren't random at all. They're the corrupted remnants of proper military command responses that have been deliberately twisted and perverted. This magnificent dog was once trained correctly by professionals who understood his heritage and potential, then systematically retrained by Reed to suppress his noble instincts and replace them with fear-based aggression. Harrison can see the internal conflict in Cupcake's, the metallic click of the leash clip releasing echoes across the courtyard like a gunshot, cutting through the morning air with terrifying finality. Time seems to slow to a crawl as every person present realizes that the point of no return has been crossed. "Get him, Cupcake!" Reed's command cracks through the air with vicious satisfaction and years of built-up rage as the 85-pound bulldog launches forward with the explosive power of his muscular hindquarters driving him toward his target. But what happens next, folks, is pure military magic that will leave you absolutely speechless and demonstrate why these Royal Guards represent the pinnacle of military training and expertise. Harrison doesn't panic, doesn't break his ceremonial position in fear, and doesn't attempt a conventional defensive response that might escalate the violence. Instead, he transforms the entire situation with a display of skill so advanced that it belongs in Special Forces training manuals. Look at that absolutely perfect positioning as Harrison drops into a controlled tactical crouch that utilizes his center of gravity and leverage principles learned through years of specialized training. Harrison isn't trying to stop or overpower 85 pounds of attacking muscle through brute force. Instead, he's using advanced physics and biomechanics to redirect Cupcake's explosive momentum, turning the dog's own power against the attack while simultaneously protecting both himself and the animal. This is combat dog handling that takes literally years to master, combining split-second timing with precise knowledge of canine anatomy and psychology. "Easy there, soldier." Harrison's voice carries the calm, authoritative command tone of a seasoned military dog handler who has worked with combat animals in life and death situations. His hands move with surgical precision to find specific pressure points and control positions that most people don't even know exist. "You're better than what he's made you do, aren't you, boy? Did you catch that crucial word choice?" Harrison immediately calls Cupcake soldier because his expert eye has recognized the dog's military heritage and breeding, and he's speaking directly to the animal's original training rather than acknowledging Reed's corruption. Watch this absolutely incredible transformation unfold before your eyes. Cupcake's entire body language undergoes a complete metamorphosis in a matter of seconds. His ears shift from aggressive attack position to attentive listening posture. The tension in his powerful muscles releases as Harrison's expert touch activates responses that were bred into his bloodline over generations. Most remarkably, his tail, watch his tail carefully, begins to wag with genuine happiness as he recognizes, probably for the first time in months, the touch of someone who understands his true nature and heritage. What you're witnessing represents fascinating animal psychology and genetic memory in action, folks. Dogs, especially those from specialized working bloodlines like Cupcake, carry what animal behaviorists call genetic memory. Inherited behavioral patterns and responses that can override learned aggression when triggered correctly by someone who understands how to access them. Harrison's hands are finding and activating specific pressure points that are taught only in the most advanced K9 units, techniques that create instant calming responses in properly bred working dogs by accessing their deepest genetic programming. Meanwhile, Reed is experiencing complete psychological collapse as his master plan disintegrates before his eyes. "Cupcake! Attack! What are you doing? Get him!" His voice cracks with panic and disbelief as his carefully trained weapon completely ignores his commands and instead responds to genuine authority, the kind of leadership that comes from understanding, respect and proper knowledge rather than fear and intimidation. Reed's entire identity as a tough guy who controls others through fear is crumbling as he watches his intimidation tool become evidence of his own failures and inadequacy. Look at this moment of complete submission as Cupcake rolls over, exposing his belly to Harrison in the ultimate display of trust and recognition. This isn't defeat or domination, folks. This is recognition and relief. Cupcake has finally found what he was bred for centuries to seek. A worthy pack leader who understands his true nature, respects his heritage, and can communicate with him in the language of his genetic programming, rather than the corruption of fear and abuse. Harrison, demonstrating the kind of military leadership that turns crises into teaching opportunities, addresses the gathered crowd with professional calm. "You see," he explains, while his hands continue their skilled work, "a dog like this comes from generations of dedicated service animals. Military lines specifically bred for intelligence, loyalty, and the ability to recognize true authority when they encounter it." Harrison is transforming this dangerous situation into a powerful educational moment, showing the crowd what real leadership looks like under pressure. "What this man has done," Harrison continues, his eyes locking onto Reed with unmistakable authority, "isn't just simple animal abuse, though that would be serious enough. It's an insult to centuries of careful breeding and noble purpose. See, these animals carry the genetic heritage of dogs that served alongside British forces in 2 world wars, that worked search and rescue operations, that provided comfort and protection to soldiers in the worst conditions imaginable. Look at Cupcake now, and you can see what this magnificent breed is truly supposed to be. Alert but gentle, powerfully built but completely controlled, intelligent and responsive, ready to serve and protect rather than attack and intimidate. His transformation under Harrison's expert handling serves as a living demonstration of how proper training, understanding and respect can overcome even systematic abuse and corruption. Justice arrives in the form of multiple police officers who have been observing the situation and building their case. Reed now faces a lengthy list of serious charges: animal abuse with intent to harm, public endangerment involving a weapon, disturbing the peace at a royal monument, threatening a member of the Queen's Guard, which carries special penalties, and using an animal as a weapon in commission of assault. Each of these charges carries significant penalties, and the combination means Reed is looking at substantial prison time plus permanent restrictions on animal ownership. But this incredible story teaches us profound life lessons that extend far beyond one confrontation between a bully and a trained professional, folks. First and most importantly, proper animal training and ownership. Every single pet owner watching this needs to understand that genuine training isn't about establishing dominance through fear or intimidation. It's about communication, understanding, and building a relationship based on mutual respect. Harrison didn't overpower Cupcake. He spoke the dog's natural language and appealed to his genetic programming and noble heritage. Second, the nature of true authority versus false intimidation. Real leadership and genuine authority never need threats, violence, or intimidation to be effective. True authority comes from knowledge, understanding, competence, and the ability to bring out the best in others, whether those others are human or animal. Reed's attempt at dominance through fear collapsed immediately when confronted with someone who possessed actual authority based on skill and understanding. Third, community responsibility and the courage to act. That elderly veteran who stepped forward despite being outnumbered and facing danger, he demonstrated that good people must find the courage to act when they witness bullying, abuse, or injustice. Remaining silent and passive in the face of obvious wrongdoing enables and encourages that behavior to continue and escalate. The aftermath of this confrontation provides even more compelling evidence of the difference between abuse and proper care. Animal welfare specialists who examined Cupcake confirmed Harrison's immediate assessment. The dog showed clear signs of systematic abuse and retraining specifically designed to suppress his natural gentle temperament and replace it with learned aggression. Veterinary behaviorists documented the psychological damage that had been inflicted and began developing a rehabilitation program. Reed received an 18-month prison sentence plus a lifetime ban from owning or having contact with animals of any kind. More importantly, the court ordered him to pay for Cupcake's rehabilitation and placed him on probation with mandatory anger management and psychological counseling. But the real victory in this story belongs to Cupcake, who was placed with a specialized rehabilitation program designed specifically for former military working dogs and animals that have suffered abuse. 6 months later, after intensive rehabilitation and proper training, Cupcake graduated as a certified therapy dog specializing in work with military veterans suffering from PTSD and other trauma-related conditions, from weapon to healer, from source of fear to bringer of comfort. That's the incredible power of proper training, genuine care, and understanding an animal's true nature and potential. This isn't just an amazing story of one confrontation, folks. It's a masterclass in courage, expertise, and the absolutely incredible level of training and capability that our Royal Guards carry beneath those ceremonial uniforms that most people see as merely decorative. Every single guard you see standing at their posts has specialized military skills that most people never imagine and would be shocked to discover. Combat training that rivals special forces, crisis management techniques learned in hostile environments, psychological warfare defense mechanisms, advanced first aid and medical training, and yes, specialized animal handling capabilities that can diffuse dangerous situations involving aggressive animals. Guard Harrison returned to his ceremonial post that morning, having demonstrated something profound about the nature of true strength and genuine authority. His actions showed that real power doesn't come from fear, intimidation, or the ability to harm others. Instead, true strength comes from knowledge, discipline, understanding, and the moral courage to do what's right, even when it's difficult or dangerous. The ripple effects of this incident extended far beyond that single morning. Video footage of the confrontation, captured by tourist phones and security cameras, went viral on social media and sparked important conversations about animal abuse, proper training techniques, and the hidden capabilities of ceremonial military units. Dog training professionals used the incident as a teaching tool to demonstrate proper handling techniques and the importance of understanding breed heritage and genetic programming. If this absolutely incredible display of hidden military expertise, animal psychology, and moral courage has amazed and inspired you, I need you to smash that like button right now and show your support for these remarkable men and women who serve with such dedication and skill. Subscribe to our channel and hit those notifications because we bring you these extraordinary, untold stories of Royal Guard valor and hidden expertise every single day. These are stories you simply won't find anywhere else, revealing the incredible depths of training and capability that lie beneath every ceremonial uniform. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. What other hidden skills and specialized training do you think these royal guards possess that might surprise us? How do you think we as a society can better protect animals from being misused and abused while honoring their noble breeding and genetic heritage? What lessons from this incredible confrontation can we apply to our own lives when dealing with bullies or challenging situations? Remember this crucial truth that Harrison demonstrated through his actions. Genuine authority and real strength aren't about making others fear you or dominating them through intimidation. True strength comes from the ability to understand, to lead with wisdom and compassion, to transform dangerous situations into opportunities for education and growth, and to inspire others, whether human or animal, to become their best selves. Until tomorrow, keep watching for more incredible stories of duty, honor, and the extraordinary capabilities hidden beneath every ceremonial uniform that protects our most cherished institutions and values.